Said.
Thank you. Today marks the 57th anniversary of the Israeli occupation of East Jerusalem, the West Bank, and Gaza. And just to give you some of the things that happened on a daily basis, they blew up 2 homes in Jeroboam. There's a statement by the UN saying that the killing of people in the West Bank is unacceptable, 500 people, and so on and so on and so on. I mean, my question to you, how long must the Palestinians endure? Should they endure another 57 years of occupation? Isn't it time for the United States of America to make good on its so many commitments, so many times over the decades, that this occupation must end? Or maybe you don't feel that this occupation ought to end.
So, Said, if you look at the work that we have been doing, it is to establish an independent Palestinian state,
Right.
to answer the Palestinian people's legitimate political aspirations. One of the things you heard the president speak to on Friday when he outlined this ceasefire proposal that is still pending with Hamas, is that we want to resolve the immediate crisis in Gaza. We want to see an end to the death and destruction there. But then we also believe that the acceptance of that proposal could lead us to long-term peace, long-term stability, and of course self-determination for the Palestinian people.
Well, looking at what this president has done, or former presidents have done, in terms of, exercising or leveraging the weight and the prestige of the United States on Israel to make good, to stop the settlement. You have not. To end the killing, you have not. I mean, we see this war that has been going on for the past 8 months, which is just a small part of the past 57 years. It has already more than 40,000 Palestinians, maybe more, have been killed. Many of them women and children. The entire Gaza is probably, destroyed, or part of it is destroyed. The same thing goes on and on every day in the West Bank, which, seems to have disappeared from the radar screen. So that is my point. When will we see a real action by the United States of America?
So if you want to talk about how we are going to use the influence of the United States and the prestige of the United States, you have seen it over the past few days in working with Egypt and Qatar to negotiate a proposal that Israel put on the table to achieve an immediate ceasefire that we would work to try to turn into long-term lasting peace. And I would note, as I did yesterday when you asked similar questions, and as I did the day before when you asked similar questions, the obstacle to that proposal getting off the ground right now is not Israel, it's not the United States, it's not any of the countries in the region, it is Hamas. I would also point you to the work that we have been doing with the government of Saudi Arabia and with our other Arab partners to try to find long-term normalization of relations with Israel. And one of the things that would be included in normalization is a pathway to an independent Palestinian state. So the United States has been actively engaged in this question, not just speaking to it from podiums, not just giving speeches about it, but actively engaged with partners in the region to try to establish an independent Palestinian state, to try to take all of the carnage of the past 8 months, all the death of the past 8 months, and to come out of that with real, tangible progress to answer the Palestinians' legitimate hopes and aspirations.
One last comment. We also see that the President of the United States yesterday, this administration signing a deal with Israel to give it one more wing of F-35 that have been solely used in Gaza, nowhere else, giving $15 billion of arms and so on for this war to continue. We've seen the President basically say that Mr. Netanyahu wants this war to continue for political reasons, then he backtracks and so on. I don't think these signals would in any way, sort of show the red eye, or as we say in Arabic, or show the stick, so to speak, to the Israeli government to end its atrocities in Gaza.
So a couple things. First of all, when it comes to Israel's long-term security, and when you referred to this negotiation over providing F-35s, that is a commitment to Israel's long-term security. These are planes that would be delivered 4 years from now in 2028. We are committed to maintaining Israel's qualitative military edge in the region. That's something we're required to do by law, and it's something we support and something that we will continue to do. That said, we also are pursuing an end to the conflict in Gaza. And as I said, despite the premise of your question, it is not Israel that is the roadblock to a ceasefire right now. It is not Israel that is a roadblock to hostages being returned. 600 trucks a day of humanitarian assistance coming in. Palestinians being able to safely return to their neighborhoods and eventually get to the reconstruction of Gaza. It is Hamas. All that is on the table in a proposal that is sitting with Hamas, as it has been sitting with Hamas for 6 days now, and we await their answer. Go ahead.